Hello friends, and welcome back to Pokemon Crystal, the worst final evolutions. Well, we've done it. The Johto region has been conquered, and we've got all 8 of the Johto Gym badges. So now, the next step, gotta go take on the Pokemon League. And we just have to make our way east of Newbark. Now, when I was a kid, this was one of the coolest parts, or in my opinion, this was one of the coolest parts of the story, because when you set foot on land over here, this guy's like, hey, do you know what you just did? You've taken your first steps into Kanto. And I'm like, wait a second, Kanto? That's the old map. So they've connected it to the older Pokemon games, and I thought that was just so cool. Especially because I was so attached to the early Pokemon games. Like, I played those games like crazy when I was younger. So just to know that the world itself was connected, I just fell in love with these games again as soon as I saw that. So here we are at the... I think this is the only required use of Waterfall in the game. But if you remember my, my spiel over in the Ice Path about how Waterfall was a random item as opposed to an HM that you're given, you could very well miss it. Now, if you really wanted to push it, you could get a Goldeen or a Seaking, because I believe they can naturally learn Waterfall, which it's one of the first Pokemon that has ever been able to naturally learn an HM. But if all else fails, you could do that. Now, that right there was just me trying to skip a whole bunch of trainers, because I'm trying to at least get to the Pokemon League. Well, hey, look at that! I made it to the rest stop, and I haven't even fought a trainer yet. Okay, well, I will fight a few trainers here. Since I'm nearer the rest stop now, I can at least heal myself easier than as opposed to going all the way back to my house in Newbark. So let's see how my team handles some of these later trainers. Okay, well, my guys are at the level. Well, oh, I must not have healed up from my random encounters. Going back to Newbark. Whoops! And also, whoops for expecting this Pikachu to not have a high power electric move. Ooh. If this is the power level I have to deal with for the Elite Four, I'm gonna have to do a lot of training. Well, that's why there's a whole bunch of trainers here. Alright, well, starts with the Pikachu, ends with a Blastoise. This is going to be interesting, because I haven't dealt with too many high-power, fully evolved Pokemon yet. Ooh, Curse. Interesting. How do I handle this? I guess, yeah, I'll just keep going in with Strength. Yeah, Curse was one of the more interesting moves that was introduced in Generation 2, because Curse's type is actually considered typeless. Now, modern Pokemon games don't have the typeless type anymore, because they just smartened up and were like, hey, we'll just turn this into a ghost move. But beforehand, Curse being typeless had to play into the fact that Curse had 2 different effects based on the type of Pokemon that was using it, which was very unique for the time. Ooh. Nah, I gotta keep Fire Punch, and the other moves are kind of required. Darn it. Anyways, back to my Curse talk. So, if Curse is used by a Ghost type, they cut their health in half, and of course lay the Curse status on the opposing Pokemon. But if anything other than a Ghost uses it, like as you saw the Blastoise there, it turns into one of the best setup moves in Generation 2. So you lose a little speed, but you increase your attack and defense by a stage each. And because a myriad of Pokemon can learn it, it makes for a pretty good move, all things considered. Okay. One trainer down. Let's just see how I fare against these other ones, because I think, yeah, this guy has an Espeon, I think? Yep. One of my favorite evolutions. If I was playing Generation 2 games for the fun of it, Espeon is usually a mainstay on my teams. Like, I'll get the Eevee from Bill, and then I will... if I want to get the Espeon right away, I will just level up the Eevee via happiness that way. But I have had times where I wanted to make Espeon a little bit more consistent with its types of attacks. So I would find a way to breed the Eevee and make sure it knew Bite. I actually forget if Bite was a level up move or it only learned it through breeding. But I made sure that the Eevee had Bite at a low level, and then I would level up the Eevee as little as possible to get its friendship up, and then evolve it into Espeon as soon as possible, and preferably before it learned Confusion. So that way I'd have a very strong early game Pokemon that knew two pretty powerful attacking moves. And of course, because Espeon is a special attacker on par with Alakazam, Psychic moves and Dark moves coming off in Espeon are really strong. It's just one of those really consistent things that I loved when playing the game, because Generation 2 Pokemon, for the most part, they're not the strongest Pokemon that were ever introduced. Now, certainly, nowadays, a lot of Pokemon can fit the bill as being pretty strong, because they have to measure up to about 800 other Pokemon. But in the early days, when there was just the 250, Pokemon itself was considered more of a we'll call it like a better mix of battling versus collecting. So, like, someone would be like, oh, here's this really rare Pokemon, I'm gonna catch it. But then there are the handful that are really good at battling, and those would be the ones that get used a lot. So, like, no one would feasibly use a Yanma in battle because there's so many other consistent ones, but Yanma is a rare Pokemon, so it fits the collection bill. Later games of Pokemon, like, you can clearly tell they were banking more on the battling aspect, which is something that I feel like Pokemon kind of needs to take a step back on. That's just kind of my honest opinion. Like, a lot of the later games, and don't get me wrong, I still absolutely enjoy playing any Pokemon game I get my hands on, but a lot of the earlier games had a strong focus on the adventure as well as the battling. Just why I love to go back to any Pokemon game that's like Generation 5 and before. Like, those games were well stocked with things to explore. And I would just enjoy playing the game, like, for the adventure. And then when it got to Generation 6 and later, a lot of the focus was now shifted to how can we make battling more enjoyable. And we got all of the new gimmicks that we had gotten before. So, like, Generation 6 introduced Mega Evolutions, Generation 7 introduced Z moves, and Generation 8 introduced the Dynamax variant, Dynamaxing into Pokemon battles. And while those are fun in their own right, I feel like the focus of the game being shifted way towards the battling and just the adventures themselves just being a straight line from start to end. And I will preface that part by saying that, yes, even the early games were all straight lines front and back, but I do feel like there was a lot more adventuring in the earlier Pokemon games. So that's just kind of my take on that. I feel like the Pokemon games need to focus more, or at least a better balance of exploration versus battling. And if they do that, I feel like you get a much stronger game in general. But that's just, like I said, that's just my hot take when it comes to, like, my opinion on some of the later Pokemon games. Okay, at least I'm fast enough to run away from a Sandshrew. Okay. If I remember right, we've got, I think she's okay as far as no psychics. I'm fairly certain there's another psychic here. I just have to be careful because got a poison type in the front. I think I'm okay here. Starmie, I don't think learns any psychic moves naturally. Yeah, it'd be more so in the water move department. And again, I think that's another instance of a Pokemon knowing a move it shouldn't normally be able to learn, because I don't think a lot of Pokemon were able to naturally learn Bubble Beam in these games. It's just kind of those cool things you notice if you've played the game long enough. Alright. Well, I got Dig. That's one way to go about this. Nidoqueen, what are you doing? That's a horrible move to use against an Ariados. Alright. Yeah, Quick Claw trigger on going down, no Quick Claw trigger on coming up. That's what I hope for. Well, okay, that's not bad. Yeah, that's the way you do it. That's the way you use the Quick Claw. Very close. Nightshade should be able to handle this. And down goes the Nidoqueen. And, of course, Effie continues to get stronger off of everyone else. Alright, well, if the first batch of Sludge Bombs KO'd the first Starmie, this should be okay. Although, I really do hope I get a Quick Claw trigger. Nope, wasn't so lucky this time. Well, that's why the rest house is nearby. Now, this might be a bad matchup, but should get a good critical hit. Works for me. Okay, knowing that the Psychic is still nearby, I think I'm gonna keep Palmer in the front. Yeah, I think this is the Psychic. And if I remember right, he has an Execute and a Girafarig and maybe something else? Well, there is the ever-popular Starmie on this route. And to be fair, Starmie is a pretty good Pokemon, so hey, good on them for picking a solid choice. However, if they were able to get TMs for high-power water and psychic moves, they could make it even better. Alright, that's one down. Next up, oh, yep, okay, there's the Execute. I'm fairly certain Strength would still be more effective on this part. Okay, I can't recall. Is it an end of turn or end? Yeah, it's the end of my move that it would get sapped, so I should be okay. And now what was the last one? Was this the Girafarig? Yes! I do remember a few things. Now the one I still remember with Girafarig, what always screwed me up, like, I knew Girafarig was a psychic Pokemon, but what always tripped me up was that Girafarig was also part normal, so ghost moves would be rendered ineffective. But I couldn't begin to tell you the number of times that I completely forgot about that and was like, oh, hey, I'll use Shadow Ball or something. And it's not effective. And I go, oh, right. Okay. That's the Psychic. So I should be okay with, yeah, this guy here, using Qwilfish. Now, how strong... Okay, you only got the one. Oh, that was a good call from me. Bye, Sandslash. Hopefully. Alright. And there's my level 36. It's kind of a shame I really can't use physical moves on Qwilfish. I mean, I could teach Rollout, but don't really need that right now. If I get desperate, then definitely I'll teach it. That might be something I'll really need to consider going forward with the Pokemon League, because the Pokemon in the Pokemon League are no joke. Like, there's the Psychic-type trainer right off the bat, so already they're starting with a heavy hitter. Koga's next, and Koga's just a tricky trainer to deal with. I certainly remember struggling on the Crobat and the Fortress when I was younger. And then Bruno's next. Not the hardest trainer to deal with, but still packs quite a bit of power. And then there's Karen after that, and she's good. Like, for the first Dark-type high-end trainer. She knows what she's doing, and that Houndoom she's got is no joke, too. And then, of course, if I can make it through all of that, then there's Dragon-type Master Lance at the very end. And every single one of his Pokemon is no joke. I wouldn't be surprised if I have to get my team here to level 50 or even higher just to even stand a chance against most of his Pokemon. And I'm still debating whether or not... Oh, good thing I still have Sonic Boom. I almost made a mistake. Well, if me sending a flying type in against Magneton wasn't already a mistake enough. Come on, pay attention, me. Alright, definitely gonna need a good visit to a rest house after this. Let Palmer come in here. There's one more trainer I hope to fight, and I know the Pokemon she has, so I'm not too afraid. Of course I say that, and that'll be the trainer I wipe out on, but I just go back to a nearby Pokemon Center. But yeah, I'm probably gonna have to do another training grind just to even have a chance at dealing with the Pokemon League. So, we'll see what happens there. I'm still debating whether or not I want to do it how I did in the red version of my worst playthrough, where I did the entire run from start to finish. And I was still under-leveled, but not by a lot. It still took me a few tries. Or if I want to... powering up Solar Beam. Or if I want to do each one in stages. That one might come later. Because I could be like, maybe I'd like soft reset every time I'd lose to a later trainer. And that way I don't lose progress, but I'd like to still say that... Oh, what are you looking for, Tully? It's too bad I'm not near him. Probably a Water Stone, that would have been good for some money. But, yeah, I still don't know how I'm going to handle the Elite Four just yet, but, like, I'd love to say that I could do the whole thing, start to finish, in one run. Okay. Yeah, this trainer here, she's got the, I think it's Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Venusaur, so she just has the whole grass line here. But one thing I know that works on grass, Frost. Okay, that's pretty telling there. If Ladion couldn't KO a Bulbasaur with a super effective move, I may not even KO Dragonites from Lance in one hit, and that would be a 4 times effective move. Well, we'll see what happens there. Okay, at the very least, that's still a 2-hit, even with Leech Seed. And thank goodness that's very ineffective. Okay, well, Ivysaur down. And now it's Venusaur. Okay, I'm gonna do something here. I'm gonna bring Effie in, because I want to get rid of the Leech Seed. I'm faster than a Venusaur. I'll take it. Yeah, that's about as much damage as I'll expect. Jeez, Effie's gonna have to be like level 100 to be able to do anything to the Pokemon League. Okay. Oh man, I'm getting lucky dodging the sleep powders. Wow, go Effie. Well, I mean, there's the sleep powder still, but hey, you half damaged a Venusaur. That's pretty impressive, not gonna lie. Oh, and I even dodged the Razor Leaf. I believe in you, Effie! And oh, critical hit there. Oh, I was hoping you'd wake up to get one last hidden power off. But you did what I needed you to do, Effie, and that's all I could ask. So, thanks for that. Now I'll be able to finish this off much more effectively with Ray. Now that's teamwork. Alright, well, that's good. Now I can head back to the rest house. And then there's a few more trainers I need to face. And then there's one big fight that I want to either beat or end off with on this episode. So still got a little ways to go. And here we have the TM for Sandstorm, and as she said, in the early days, playing with Sandstorm, it is a fairly advanced strategy, somewhat risky. Now, weather in Pokemon is incredibly common nowadays. Like, you probably wouldn't even go a Pokemon fight without seeing some form of it. And even in the later games beyond that, the concept of terrains, which is kind of like a spin-off of weather. But back in Generation 2, where they introduced Sunny Day, Rain Dance, and Sandstorm, they were very novel concepts. And Sandstorm being a very, shall we say, like, high play move, because unless you were a rock, ground, or steel type, you would take damage from the Sandstorm every turn. But if you played around it correctly, you'd be dealing a whole bunch of residual damage to your opponent. And being able to play around it, you'd be setting yourself up for some pretty big advantages. It's like playing with entry hazards. Like, most of the time you wouldn't see the benefit of entry hazards, because most of the time when you're playing in-game Pokemon, the opponent won't switch their Pokemon around, so you'd only get like a little bit of damage here and there. But if you were playing against a human opponent, more often than not, each trainer would be switching Pokemon around to try to stay with the biggest advantage. And if you could punish your opponents for all their switching with a bunch of damage that racks up over time, you're setting yourself up for a big win. Alright, so I think... Every time I see Rap in the early games, I feel like it's going to be Generation 1 Rap, but nope. It's the sad excuse for a move that it became in these games, and for good reason. Okay, but another Sludge Bomb would take out the Victory Bell here, so let's go with that. And down goes the Victory Bell. What's next? I feel like there's a Parasect and a Kingler coming up. Okay, that might be on other trainers. Alright, well, I'm gutsy. I'll stay in. Now, as far as evolutions go, Flareon does get the short stick for most of it, being a more physical-oriented Eevee evolution that is a special type. But I've got a soft spot for Flareon. Like, I used Flareon in a recent run-through of Crystal. I think it's the same run where I was attempting the Living Pokedex. And Flareon just worked wonders for me in that. Like, of course, I had to build Flareon as a mixed set because you couldn't get anywhere with just pure fire, so I had to play around with some TMs. But Flareon just worked for me. Like, I think I taught it Dig and Shadow Ball to be able to play off its attack stat. And, of course, kept a strong fire move once it got it. And it was just consistent. So, and I got a soft spot. I just have a soft spot for Flareon. Alright, let's go. Oh, that takes care of the Kingler. Now, I think there's 2 more trainers I have to work with here. Yes, there's this trainer here, and then I think there's 1 more just above. Alright. Yeah, so there's the Parasect I remembered. Bad matchup? Probably, but you know what? Let's see how well an Icy Wind does. Ooh. Packing a Swords Dance. Well, we'll see if Parasect can actually use that Swords Dance. Oh, this could hurt. Oh wow, didn't even get the critical. Kinda got lucky on that, not gonna lie. Now, if it was able to use physical grass moves, that would have been painful. Okay, well, that is not a good matchup. So let's go Dart. Oh, that was a good thing I did switch. Okay, well, not too strong. Given the fact that Golduck can learn psychic moves, and same as its evolution Psyduck, part of me almost wished that Golduck was a water psychic, but I can understand why they didn't do that, because they already had the water psychic in Starmie, so they would just be doubling up on types too much, or at least that's what I think, anyways. So maybe it was a good thing that they just kept Golduck as a pure water that just had psychic type coverage. Okay. Now, if I do remember right, this last trainer here has a Rapidash, so I'm gonna keep Mr. Puff in the front. Oh yeah, so she lost to a trainer named Silver here, so remember that, because he's nearby. But she also points out that it's like, yeah, I lost to him, but it almost felt like he was desperate for the win, like he was pushing his Pokemon a bit too much. And you could kind of tell that he's in a state of like rethinking himself kind of thing. Like he's desperate now because he's trying to hold on to what his core belief as a trainer is, which is like power. But like everyone else around him is defeating him, and they're doing it without necessarily being the strongest. And that is one thing that I do like about the rival in this game, is you do get to see his character development over time. From someone who thinks he only needs to be powerful and the weak shouldn't be. But then when you see him in later fights, you can tell that he's kind of matured a little bit and understands the benefits of being like an actual team with your Pokemon, like actually being friends with them. Almost makes me think that they should have taught some of his Pokemon the move Frustration, and then later on, his Pokemon would know Return instead. So like Max Power Frustration to start, and then Max Power Return in the later bit. But one thing that, if you pay attention to the rival's team, you do realize that there are a few elements to his team that do help, shall we say, show that he has become a better trainer. So this way here leads to Mount Silver, which is the penultimate challenge of the game, but that'll come way later. And this way leads to Viridian City, which I can't access until I actually hit Viridian City. Okay, just play this part carefully here. So we're back in Victory Road, which has a similar layout to how it was back in the day. And if you realize that there are no trainers here, that's because Silver defeated all of them and they left to outside of the route that I just was on. So basically, oh, that's a fast Onix, and now I really can't leave. But the way that it was kind of structured there is every trainer that you fought on the way here, what were all the trainers in Victory Road? And then you get the last challenge in here, which is battling Silver. And speaking of Silver, going back to what I was saying before, if you pay attention to Silver's team, he has a Crobat, or not a Crobat, a Golbat, a Haunter, and I think he'll end up with a Kadabra. I think on this fight? I'm not sure. I'll see it here in a little bit. But he will end up with the Kadabra. And if you realize, two of those Pokemon evolve purely by trade, and one of them has a friendship-based evolution. And of course, he doesn't have those here, but there's one fight later on, which will be when I get to Kanto, that he'll have evolved the Haunter into a Gengar, the Kadabra into an Alakazam, and the Golbat into a Crobat. And most of those could only happen if either A, you've actually like had to rely on someone else to help you get those Pokemon, or okay, nothing there. Or you have to, like, you and the Pokemon have to have a bond of trust between each other. And like that's just a subtle way of showing that he has at least grown as a trainer. And I thought that was pretty cool. Like, you don't notice it right away, but when you take the time to just kind of look at it, you go, oh, he has grown. So they did a good job with it in this game, I think. So here we go, just getting a couple items here. There's one item I want to get for sure. and that is TM26 Earthquake. But I do have to... I still have to get through a lot of the cave here, and including a little backtracking. So I don't know how well that will go. Yes, it is this one. Of course, I didn't have to do that, but oh well. Now, chances are I'll be spending a lot of time here doing some training. Or at the rest house. Yeah, so I think it's this way first. Oh man, this is where I really wish I bought a max repel, not gonna lie. If I want to, actually, I think this is... Yeah, this will be good training for Mr. Puff, I think, because everything here is either a rock type or a Golbat. So I can just go crazy with surfs and waterfalls. So we have here, yep, there's TM26, so that teaches Earthquake, one of the most powerful moves in the game. And a convenient max potion. Now, I will go around the other way here, because I just want to get that one item. Ooh, got a Rhydon of all things. Now that's a lot of experience. So let's go 4 times effective waterfall. Just like that. So yeah, without the XP share, that would have been 1,000 experience on the Mr. Puff there. Well, if the Rhydons want to keep showing up, go ahead. But yeah, I'll keep running into Sandslashes and Rhyhorns and Rhydons and Gravelers and Onyxes. I'll find a whole bevy of ground-type Pokemon here. And they're all a pretty good level too. And I will take any excuse I can get for some more levels, just in case. But at the same time, I still wish I brought a repel or two. I'll have to remember that for the future. Almost there. Almost. Okay, I know that would still get me some good experience, but I'm actually gonna run from this. Just want to get that item. Well, hey, full restores are always good. The penultimate healing item. Okay. So, no more going around places. I can now start heading towards the exit, but the aforementioned fight with Silver is coming up here. So let's hope I can do this. I will start... Yeah, I think he's gonna lead with... It's either the Golbat or the Sneasel. I'm gonna bank on it being Golbat. I do have to just quickly heal up here. Gotta keep as much health on me as I can. And here's hoping my team has what it takes to handle Silver. Hold it. Are you going to take the Pokemon League Challenge? Don't make me laugh. You're so much weaker than I am. I'm not like I was before. I now have the best and strongest Pokemon with me. I'm invincible. Storm, I challenge you. So he's like, no, I don't lose to Bleeding Hearts. I'll just get my Pokemon even stronger. Ah, he started with a Sneasel. Okay, well, at the very least, my Pokemon are slightly stronger. How to handle this? 'Cause I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have to preserve Ray here. I'm gonna let Palmer come in here, and we'll just go with strengths. Hopefully this bought me a turn. It didn't, but at least I'm not screeched. Okay, there we go. That did buy me a turn. Yeah, fun fact about Silver's Sneasel. In Cianwood, and I completely forgot to do this, but it's not like the Eevee. I'm okay with letting the trainer keep his Pokemon, because what would happen is there's a trainer in Cianwood City who had one of his rare Pokemon stolen. That Pokemon actually being the Sneasel that Silver is using. And the trainer, when you find him, is like, I'm so afraid of my other Pokemon being stolen. Could I entrust my other rare Pokemon to you for safekeeping? And if you say yes, that's how you get a Shuckle named Shucky. And you can keep the... Oh, wow, I really misplayed that. You can keep the Shuckle, but the intention is for you to eventually give the Shuckle back. But you can get access to that Shuckle permanently if you have the friendship on the Shuckle maxed out. And if you don't return it, then that trainer will just call you a thief as well. So I didn't like, because I like Eevee a lot more. I made sure I got the Eevee, but I didn't necessarily care about the Shuckle. So at least this way, the trainer gets to keep the Shuckle. Okay. Defense drop? Okay, that's a start. I'm probably going to eat a strong Thunderbolt here. Or at least a Thunder Shock. Very strong Thunder Shock. Okay. Probably should have... Yeah, I should have just stuck with a Fire Punch. I'll have to remember that if I lose. But, Weber. Now, please, Quick Claw. Nope. But I got safely underground, and he doesn't have a... he doesn't have a flying type to switch into, because sometimes the AI is smart enough to play with type effectiveness, if they have the option. Ooh, Typhlosion time. I was kind of hoping there could be some Quick Claw shenanigans, but not this time. Yeah, no way I'm surviving that. Alright, so yeah, it's Mr. Puff, Ray, and Effie. So this is why Mr. Puff is so effective. It is the only consistent Typhlosion counter I have. Okay, it's 2 hits. That works. And I got through the Typhlosion. But now it's the Haunter and the Kadabra that I think he's got. Trying to learn... Oh, nope. We're not learning that. So what's coming in? It's Kadabra. Ooh, that's bad. That's very bad. So you know what? I'll have Effie come in here as a bridge. Okay, and there's a Future Sight. Now, if Kadabra wants to keep using Future Sight, then please be my guest. I won't take a whole lot of damage from it. Because how Future Sight works, when you use the move, it calculates the amount of damage that you'd be dealt, but it delays it for 2 turns. So you can use Future Sight, and then you can switch out, and you could still... Future Sight can still connect with an opponent, even though Kadabra isn't on the field. but how it makes the damage calculation. It doesn't matter what Pokemon is on the field when the move connects, but when you use the move, the amount of damage is based on the special defense of the Pokemon that would have taken, that was on the field on when you first used it. And I didn't think I'd see the day, but Effie has knocked out a Pokemon. But now, of course, we have a Haunter. And it knows Shadow Ball, which is really painful. Okay. Yeah, wasn't going to get much damage off of that. Yeah, that part's expected. Okay, I think I need to have Mr. Puff come in here. So yeah, I shouldn't take too much damage. In theory, yep. So it would have been a little hit because Kadabra is pretty strong, and Future Sight itself isn't a weak move to begin with. But oh, nice! That alleviates a whole lot of worry. But we did it. We got through Silver. I don't get it. I gave it everything I had. What you possess and I lack. I'm beginning to understand what that Dragon Master said to me. So it's finally starting to click in his head here. I haven't given up on becoming the greatest trainer. I'm gonna find out why I can't win and become stronger. When I do, I will challenge you, and I'll beat you down with all my power. You keep at it until then. I'm not standing here any longer because we've made it. The Pokemon League. Okay, well, get a good heal up here. And I know I've been taking this episode on for a long time, but I know for certain I'm going to have to do some training off screen. So what I want to do is use this opportunity here. I'll buy a couple of you now before I forget. I want to use this opportunity here to actually see where my Pokemon sit as far as strength is concerned. So I'm gonna take an attempt at the league. And if I lose right away, then that's a good sign that I'll have to level up quite a bit. If I don't, or if I manage to get through a few fights, then maybe I don't have to train as much. But we're gonna see what happens here. So the very first trainer is newcomer Will, as a Psychic type Elite Four member. Now, one of the best ways to deal with Will here, because Psychic type is already powerful unto itself, but the best way to deal with Will is to exploit the secondary typings of his Pokemon. So in this case, it is attempt to use my Elemental Punches. Alright, well, Ray's got special defense. Ooh, that's pretty close to a 2-hit. But I gotta keep going as I can here, so let's see what happens. Okay, well, I'm not living any other hit, and I'm not sending in something that'll get knocked out right away. Okay. Dart, you should have some speed behind you. This should be a good knockout for you. And how it works with opposing trainers using items in this game as opposed to later ones. In later games, the trainer will attempt to use an item if they can, once any of their Pokemon hit a stage where they could use it. Okay, well, definitely don't send in a Yanma against a Jinx. But in these games, the trainers are only programmed to use items if their last Pokemon in their setup hits the low health threshold. Oh, wow. So In Will's case, it would be the second Xatu that would fit the bill for being able to use an item. For Koga, it would be his Crobat. For Bruno, it would be his Machamp. For Karen, it would be her Houndoom. And for Lance, it would be his level 50 Dragonite. Oh geez, this is not good. Come on, Effie! Well, once again, this goes into how they could make Jynx a little bit more effective. Because if you saw my discussion video about how I built my team for the Generation 1 Worst Evolutions, you'll remember I was saying how they could have made the moveset for Jynx so much better. And I'm at least happy to see that, well, A, Effie knocking out Pokemon is amazing unto itself, but how the Jynx here has pretty much the strongest moves of the elemental types that it can learn. So as opposed to knowing like Ice Punch and 3 weak normal moves, it knows Psychic and Ice Punch, which by itself is already really deadly. Not a lot can resist that. Makes that Jynx really, really scary to go up against. Alright, well, I've got 2 Pokemon left. Both of them are weak to Psychic. I have a chance if Quick Claw triggers, which it did not. Yeah. I think a training grind is absolutely necessary. I mean, I could get lucky. I mean, this can't freeze the Xatu, so I'm still eating a Psychic. Yeah, I have lost the fight. Well, to be fair, I did expect this. So, that proves what I need to do next. I will go and train all of these guys to much higher levels. Initial estimate here, I feel like getting these main 5 to level 45 would be the best. Effie can be level 100 for all I care. It needs as much strength as it can get. But these guys here, Again, I don't want to try over-leveling my Pokemon to too high level. If I have to, I will, but I want to at least say, oh, I would have to. It's not, oh, I'm just going to over-level my guys and steamroll my way through, because I still want to get a little challenge out of this. So I'll get these guys to about level 45 and hop into the Elite Four again when I hop back on the next episode, because I've been going for quite a long time here, and this is going to be a lot of off-screen work. So thank you very much for watching today. Hope you guys enjoyed my trek up through Victory Road to the Elite Four, and I know we had a lot of good battles today, so I hope you enjoyed watching those. So thanks again for watching, take care, stay safe, and have a good day.